Students, hello. Today we are going to discuss the matrix which are using the stages of life cycle. And we are beginning with the Hofer matrix. It was historically the first. Okay, dear students, do you see my screen?
Yes, I see.
Yes.
Okay, great. So last time we stopped at the point that we discussed all the stages of a life cycle, and the idea of the next scientist was the following. So, and actually, let's begin with the presenting of the scientist. A short excursion for history. This is Charles Hofer. So he very famous person in management, not maybe like Igor Ansov, but still very famous and very well known person. And generally, he decided to use the curve of product life cycle and to build the matrix with the help of the curve. What is the purpose? The purpose is that it will be possible to analyze the future of our company with the help of these metrics. Actually, maybe it sounds a little bit strange, but after today's lecture, everybody will understand what he meant. So he decided to take the competitive position as the first dimension for his matrix. And actually in the internet you can find the two types of matrices with with 3 intervals or with 4 intervals. So you are welcome to take any. You are welcome to take any. And generally, one lady today in the morning asked whether it is possible to take the same estimation from the General Electric matrix. Yes, completely possible. It is totally the same when you are evaluating the competitive position for every strategical business unit. It is from McKinsey matrix, but the next dimension comes from this curve. So we are trying to understand in which stage every strategical business unit is now, and we are setting every strategical business unit with the estimation of with the help of the estimation of the stage of life cycle. And the general idea of the matrix is to support this situation. It was the last picture from the yesterday's lecture, not yesterday's, from the last lecture, you might remember. And the general idea for any company is that any strategical business unit sometimes will have the decline stage. And it is better to to launch a new market at this to a new product at this very moment. So when the curve will go down, it is a good idea for our company to launch a new one. And Charles Hofer tried and successfully tried to build the new metrics to support this idea. So in literature you can find two types of the metrics. The metrics with three intervals when we are estimating the competitive position of the strategical business units, or and actually you can see the link. It is the article written by Hofer, or actually you can use just three dimensions, strong, average, or weak, just to use the previous information from the matrix which you have built for General Electric. And generally, one tip you can use, it is the next task for you to create this matrix, and actually you can use not only the estimations from General Electric matrix, but you can use also the pictures, because it will be the same circles with the parts in which it is possible to see the market share of the company. So here we are using, and just to remind you the previous material, the first matrix, the matrix of Boston Consulting Group. You remember that here in Boston Consulting Group we are using just one characteristics of competitive advantage, just relative market share, and when we are using the General Electric we are adding other characteristics. Yes, the relative market share is a very important characteristic, maybe the most important characteristics, but when building the General Electric matrix we are adding other characteristics of the strategical business units. And here we have stage of market evolution or stage of the product. It is in this very situation it is totally the same. And generally, finally, you will see something like this presented at this picture by green circle. It is the whole market, and this part, like empty part, it is bad. I'm sorry for the little bit maybe bad presenting. So this empty part is the market share of the company. And what is the main idea of these very metrics? The idea is, and just to explain one more thing, you can see that Charles Hofer decided to divide growth into growth and super growth. It means that as you can see here, it is like more close to super growth. And just a moment, I'm sorry, I will switch off the sound of my, I'm sorry. This is at this part the market is also growing, but the speed of this growth is much less than here. So we can say that there are two different intervals, and Charles Hofer decided to divide one stage growth into two stages, as you can see here. And the general idea of Charles Hofer is the following: that here we can see a company, all the strategical business units of the company, and it is very good for a company if we have strategical business units in all stages of life cycle, because in several years, actually, I'm reminding you that the biggest problem for life cycle strategies is that we never know, we really never know the exact period of time then the growth will be will like will be to another stage, to the stage of maturity, and when maturity will become the declining stage. It will be, definitely it will be, but we never know actually, and this is the biggest problem when we are speaking about the lifestyle strategies, because actually why it is so. You can say, okay, we can forecast, yes we can, but for example, if there is a new strategy, a new technology, and the technology can provide the new possibility for a new product, and actually maybe all the customers at some market will want to have the new product, not the old one, and the old one, the old product will have the next stage of life cycle. So the general idea is that here we can see the picture for the current moment of time, and in several years the decline in strategical business units will exit of the market and of our company, and every strategical business unit will be shifted down. So the place for the strategical business unit A became here, for B and C will become to super growth, for D it will become to maturity, for F and E will become to the declining stage. So we can see the possible situation for our company, not only for current moment of time, but also for a future. This is the most important contribution to the strategic management of the company of this instrument. And generally, the couple of pieces of advices provided by Charles Hofer in his article. So he used the lexics of BCG matrix. He used the lexics of BCG matrix. So as for business unit A, he defined it not like a star, but we have to support these strategical business units, and we must hope for the best, that the market will have the stage of growth. The example, you can ask how we can have the strategical business unit at the stage of developing, and how it is possible that we do not know whether it's going to be the stage of growth or not. It is possible at the situation, in the situation when we have the completely new product. Last lecture we discussed the Sony Walkman. And actually at the stage of develop, nobody was sure that people would buy this very product. And actually, yes, finally, the Sony company will have the growth stage, but initially nobody knew about it. So we have to the general strategy for the strategical business unit A is to support this strategical business unit and hope for the best that it will be the next stage, and then the strategical business unit will become a star in the lexics of BCG Matrix. So, if speaking about B, it is definitely the star. Then, if speaking about C, it is like a question mark, because we do not know that the position is weak, but the market is growing. So, actually, we can also, if it is possible, to increase the competitive position of our strategical business unit, we have to do it. But in two situations, the first is that it's not possible for our company, and the second is that we do not have money to do it. We have to exit of this business and use our cash inflows connected with the quitting of the business for the other strategical business units A and B. If speaking about D, it is the stage between a star and a cash cow. So we are hoping that we hope that next few years this strategical business unit will become a star. So we can plan that in several years we have the stable cash inflows from this strategical business unit. If speaking about E and F, it is definitely cash cows. So we have stable cash inflows now. And if speaking the G, it is like a dog in the lexics of BCG Matrix, and we have to think whether to sell this strategical business unit and to use the strategical business unit for supporting of units A, B, and maybe D, if it is still a need to invest in these strategical business units. I am kindly reminding you that to have all the stars in the portfolio is not a good idea, because without a star, the strategical business unit will become a question mark. Why? Because the relative market share will be smaller, and we will lose our competitive advantage at this very market. Thereafter, if we have all the stars, we do not have money in our pocket, so we need to have some money from a bank system, for example, or we will have to invite other investors, or we will have even to sell one strategical business units and use the money to support other strategical business units. Generally, advantages of this matrix is quite obvious that we, with the help of these very metrics, we are defining not only the current stage of our company, but we are also can see the future for our company. And generally, disadvantages. The first disadvantage comes from matrix of General Electric McKinsey matrix, because it is rather difficult to evaluate the competitive advantage for every strategical business units. As I told you, why the BCG matrix is so popular, because the matrix is using just two variables, and for competitive advantage of our strategical business units, we are using just one characteristics, just relative market share, that's all. And yes, it is a good idea to add another characteristics, another indicators of the market and of the strategical business unit. But every coin has two sides, pro and contras, and it will be more complicated to use this technique. And generally, also it is rather difficult to define. It is rather difficult to define the life cycle stage for every strategical business unit. We can do it, but we never know then the growth becomes maturity, and when maturity becomes the declining stage. This is all about the first instrument, but it's not all for today. I'd like also to present you the next matrix, because this matrix is almost the same with the Hofer matrix. Okay, dear students, can you see the screen on your screens on your computers? The next one, ADL Matrix.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the next matrix was created by Artur the Little company. Just a little bit history, as it is usual. This company, this consulting agency, was created by one professor, Artur Don Little. He was a professor from MIT. It is the best university in the world. You must know this university, from Massachusetts, and he created the big consulting agency, and this agency operates now all over the world, and in their portfolio of the companies served by the agency are the companies from I would say from all the industries of economy. And this agency, Artur was dead. Then the instrument of strategic management was created by a company, but the company, the consulting agency was alive, and they also wanted to use these very instrument. I mean, not the instrument, but the vision to life cycle. And they decided to use the same dimensions, the competitive position of every strategical business unit, and industry maturity category. But they saw this problem for defining the competitive position of the company. And they decided not to use BCG approach, but also not to use General Electric approach. They tried to provide, and I would say successfully tried to provide, the verbal definition of every stage. And okay, in the matrix, in the lecture, it is the first industry maturity. So when speaking about industry maturity, we have introduction, growth, maturity, and declining. And just instead of introduction, we have embryonic. And instead of decline, we have edging. And when speaking about competitive position, we have some categories. And these categories is the following: dominant, strong, favorable, tenable, and weak. And they decided to provide the verbal definition of every competitive position. If we are speaking about the first position, we are speaking about the monopoly, that it is one company, and the company is the leader of the market. When we are speaking about strong position, it means that there are 2 or 3 companies, and these companies are the leader of the industry, and your strategical business unit is connected with one of these 3 companies. Favorable. In this situation, our position is good, but there are a lot of companies, so our business is not unique. Yes, we are producing the qualitative product, but there are a lot of other companies, so here we can say that the market is close to pure competition, and our company is among the leaders of the market, but there are a lot of like companies. Tenable, it means that our company is producing the product, but we have some problems, and it means that we definitely have some problems with something. The positive explanation of this dimension is that it is quite obvious, and it can be presented verbally, and we are trying to leave only the one category, the relative market share, as it is in BCG matrix. So this is more art for an expert to define the competitive position of the market. If you ask about my opinion, all the all the possibilities, I mean, now you know 3 principal possible way to define the competitive position of the strategical business unit. The first is BCG. It is like defining the competitive position just with the help of one indicator, just with the help of relative market share. It is the most simple and the most obvious. But when we are using this approach, we are losing some other indicators. General Electric, it is, I wanted to say the best, but it is the more the most complicated approach. I wouldn't say it is the best because it is too difficult to use this approach. And this approach provided by our to the little company is somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. Yes, it is an expert choice, but with the help of the presented definitions, it is also possible to correct the estimation of BCG matrix, which is connected just with one indicator, just with relative market share, because you can see that if our company is rather strong, but there are a lot of other companies, our company will become here in this in the middle position, but not in the weak positions like it would be when we use the BCG matrix. I cannot say that some approach is better or worse, actually, but now I just want to present the I just presented the key characteristics of every strategical business unit, and no, not strategical business unit, sorry, for every approach of defining of competitive advantage of every strategical business unit. And for you, it is for you to decide which approach it is better to use. And the general algorithm, they provided the algorithm, and the algorithm is quite obvious that, first of all, to use the approach provided by To Do Little, you have to determine of the strategical business units of the company. It is the first task of your course paper. And then we have to identify the phases of maturity for every strategical business unit. It is the last task by this moment, I mean, of your paper. And then you have to determine the competitive position of SBU. If you are using, I'm stressing, if you are using this approach, it is not possible just to use the previous information from General Electric matrix, because it's not like in Hofer matrix when it is possible just to use the previous estimation, and that's all, because here we have not 3 but 5 intervals. And then you have to plot, you have to draw the circles with segments, and here you are completely using the approach which is coming from the General Electric matrix. And when you are creating the matrix, you will see something like this, and generally the Artur the Little company is providing the strategy for every box. We have 20 boxes. Why 20? Because here is 5, here is 4, and 5 to 4, 4 is 20. 5 times 4 is 20, so they are provided the 20 strategies. I will not stop at every strategy. I will leave it for your reading out of the class, and actually it's not the task for you to define a strategy for every strategical business unit of your company. It is more than a strategy, but if you'd like to To do it, it is possible for you to use this table, and in my presentation, which will be uploaded to our common folder, you will find the short explanation what it is better to do for every box of the matrix. But generally, if to summarize, it is possible to combine all the strategies into a following picture. That here it is the left top angle. We have to invest into these markets. Here we have to think whether to invest or not. Here we are divesting, we are having cash inflows, and from this strategical business unit, the best strategy is to quit from the following strategical business units. The advantages of this matrix is that it is quite obvious, it is quite transparent, it is very easy to define the competitive position of every strategical business unit, at least compared with the previous matrix, with General Electric matrix, because the definition is verbal, and with the help of this matrix, it is possible to use not only the current moment for our company, but also future for our company. And if speaking about the disadvantages, if speaking about contrast of this very approach, we can say that the first is the subjunctive perspective when we are evaluating the competitive advantage of every strategical business unit. And also I told a lot about it, that we can have problems when defining the stage of life cycle. There is all for today. I'm stopping the